So Muitala Mohammed actually came into power, on July 29, 1975, and he spent 200 days in office. Muitala Mohammed actually spent 200 days in the office. In that, on February 13, 1975, Muitala Mohammed was actually on 1976 actually. Muitala Mohammed was actually assassinated. So February 13, 1976, February 13, 1976, Muitala Mohammed was actually killed. He was killed in Lagos by the man called Major Major Buka Dimka. So Muitala lost his life after 200 days in office and was actually assassinated. With the death of what? Of Muitala Mohammed, um, Obasanjo, who was the deputy, became the head of state from that 1976. So from 1976 to 1979, Obasanjo handed over power to a civilian government on October 1, 1979. On October 1, 1979. So Obasanjo ruled for 3 years. So he handed over power to a civilian government on October 1, 1976. 1976. He handed over power. And unfortunately, too, despite the fact that Obasanjo handed over power on October 1, 1979, the civilian government was characterized by high level of corruption, of so many problems in the country and so many other problems in the country, so many problems in the country. And because of all these problems too, on the December 31, 1983, Shehu Shagai, who was the president at that time, was actually overthrown by the man called Major General Buhari and Idi Agbon. So Major General Buhari and Idi Agbon came into power on December 31, 1983. Now, Buhari and Idi Agbon, came to us to come and sanitize the system, to try to bring into so many policies that will clean up the mess that has been left by the civilian administration. But unfortunately, also on August 27, 1985, August 27, 1985, Buhari and Idi Agbon were actually overthrown by the man called Major General Babangida. Major General Babangida. So Babangida overthrew Buhari and Idi Agbon on August 27, 1985. Now, Babangida ruled for the next 8 years. Babangida ruled for the next 8 years. But we're still going to discuss that in our subsequent class, We're still going to discuss that in our subsequent class. So as we move on. Now, there was other two coups that was actually organized at that time. But those coups were not successful. We have the Vasta coup of December 1985, the Vasta coup of 1985. Then we also have the Gideon Oka coup of 1990. Those two coups were not a successful coup. But in 1993, August 27, 1993, Babangida handed over power to an interim national government of Chief Ernest Shoneko. He handed over power to Chief Ernest Shoneko on August 27, 1993. But unfortunately, too, there was a palace coup in 1993, in November 17, 1993, November 17 precisely 1993, Chief Ernest Shonekon was actually removed from power, and he was replaced, or he was overthrown, and Abacha came into power. It was actually called a bloodless coup because no life was actually lost in that coup. So Abacha became the head of state in 1993, on November 17, 1993. Now, I didn't mention this. When Babangida came into power, he gave himself a title of a president. So in the history of military in Nigeria, we have a head of state that refer himself as a president in Nigeria. Very, 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 very. So Babangida was actually a president, though he was not a democratically elected president, but he felt or regarded himself as the president in Nigeria. So in 1993, he handed over power on August 27, 1993. Then on August 17, 1993, same year, there was a coup. Abacha overthrew the man called the Chief NSA Shuneko in the palace coup. Then on the, Abacha ruled from 1993 to 1998 to 1998. So in 1998, something happened in Nigeria. And what actually happened? Though in that, before Abacha came into power, there was an election that was organized in Nigeria that was called a presidential election that was perceived to be won by the man called Abiola. But unfortunately, that election was annulled by the President Babangida, another election, and there was problem all over the country because of the annulment of that election. So there was a serious problem. So the president that was mounted on him made Babangida to actually handed over power to the man called the Chief NSA Shuneko on August 27, 1993. Then Chief NS Shuneko was now overthrown in the same 1993 by the man called Abacha on November 17, 1993. So Chief Ernest Shonekon was actually overthrown. So with the overthrow of Chief Ernest Shonekon, Abacha became the military head of a state. But something happened, like I said earlier. On June 8, 1998, Abacha actually died. Abacha actually died. So with the death of Abacha, Abdul Salami became the head of state. Major General Abdul Salami became the head of state. Major General Abdul Salami became the head of state. Now, unfortunately, too, I need to mention this. The acclaimed winner of the presidential election at that time, Chief MQ Abiola, also died. He also died on June 9, 1998. So he also died on July 9, 1998. So I don't know what really happened. So, but we're not going to discuss that in this lecture. But on June 8, Abacha died. On July 9, 1998, Abiola also died. So Abdul Salami Abubakar became the head of state, and he ruled from that 1988 to 1999. In that, in 1999, he actually handed over power to a democratically elected government in 1999, and that was the government of the man called the Chief Olusegun Obasanjo. So there's something intriguing in these dates. In these dates, don't forget that Obasanjo ruled in 1979. After 20 years, he came back to power in 1999, and since that time, from 1999 to date, there has been there has been a democratic dispensation in Nigeria from 1999 to date. We have series of presidents in Nigeria. From Obasanjo, we had the man called Yaradua. Then we have Jonathan. We have Buhari. So from 1999 to date, the military has not come into power, and it is actually believed that the military has actually been disengaged from the politics in its entirety in the history of this country. So this is just a chronology of military ruling in Nigeria from one particular time to another. I'll quickly run it down now. The dates: July January 15, 1966, first military coup in Nigeria. January 15, 1966. Then on July 29, 1966, another military coup. That military coup ushered in the government of Gowon. Gowon was only 27 years when he became the military head of state. So he was the youngest, or still the youngest, military officer in the issue of Nigerian, military engagement in politics, or military involvement in politics. So he ruled for 9 years, from 1966 to 1975. On July 29, 1975, he was overthrown. Then, when he was overthrown, another man took over who was called Muitala Muhammad. Then, Muitala Muhammad, from July 29, 1975, ruled for 200 days in office. He was killed on February 13, 1976. 1976. So Obasanjo, who became the head of state, who was the deputy at that time, became the head of state and handed over power to a civilian administration to a civilian administration. So from that time, the civilians ruled from 1979 till 1983. In December 31, 1983, the civilian government was actually overthrown by Buhari. Then, unfortunately, too, on December 27, 1985, Buhari was overthrown. December 31, 19, I mean, in December 31, 1983, Buhari overthrew the man called Shehu Shagari. He overthrew Shehu Shagari. Then on December 27, 1985, you know, Babangida overthrew the man called Buhari. Then from 1983 to 1993, Babangida ruled for 8 good years. He ruled for 8 good years. Babangida ruled for 8 good years. So from that time, Babangida ruled, based on the pressure mounted on him, he handed over power to a civilian government, an interim government in August 27, 1993. 1993. Then in 19 from that period, 1993, after some days in office, Ernest Shonekon was actually overthrown in a palace coup by Abacha in November 17, 1990, in November 17, 1993. In the same 1993, he was overthrown. Then Abacha ruled for what? For 9 years, from 1993 to 19. I mean, for 5 years, 5 years, 5 years, from 1993 to 1998. So in 1998, Abacha died on June 8, 1998. So Abdul Salami took over power and handed over power to the man called the Chief Olusegun Obasanjo. So we can see that if we count all these things, we've had so many years of what of military rule in Nigeria, roughly maybe 13 or 15 military coup that has been conducted in Nigeria. During the time of Abacha too, another coup was conducted in which his deputy, Major General Dia, was actually implicated in this coup. And unfortunately, before Dia could be killed, that was when Abacha actually died. Abacha was actually died, and Olusegun Obasanjo was actually in detention when he was called upon to come and contest for election, and he actually won that election and he became the president of Nigeria. So this is the chronology of military rule in Nigeria from the period of 1966 down to 1999. 1966 down to 1999. In between this 1966 to 1999, we've had what the government of Shehu Shagari, which was what a civilian government from 1979 to 1983. Then then we also have an interim government of Ernest Shoneko in 1993 also. But that government did not last long from August 27, 1993 to November 17, 1993. So we've had in between this period of time, we've had what two we have the government of Shehu Shagari, and apart from that, in between that period also, we also have the government of Tafa Baliwa, which was the first at that time Nigeria was operating on what we call a parliamentary or cabinet system of government. Nigeria was operating on what we call cabinet system of government or parliamentary system of government or Westminster system of government. So we have the first one, which was the cabinet system of government, the parliamentary system of government under Tafa Balewa. Then we also have the Shehu Shagari government in that time from 1979 to 1983. They will also have the interim government of Chief Ernest Shonekan from August 27 to November 17, 1993. At that time. So this is just the chronology of military ruling in Nigerian government from 1966 to 1999. So we can say that the military has always intervened in politics at one particular time or the other. They always come into power, when they see or they perceive that the system is what is not according to the way at which they are supposed to be. That is what they made us understand. And right from time, this military coup has always led to the death of some people, some military officers, and some civilians as well. And we also have what military coups that are always what bloodless. They no blood has been shed, like the one of Abacha in 1993 when he overthrew the interim national government of Ernest Shonekon on November 17, 1993. No blood was shed. It was a palace coup. So on that note, we're going to round up on what on the chronology of what of military involvement in politics. Then maybe this week we're going to look at military disengagement from politics. How did they disengage from politics? Then when we finish with that, we go to another topic. We can look at imperialism or dialectical materialism or Nigerian constitutional development or presidential system of government or cabinet system of government or democracy or the original sin, the libido dominandi or cupiditas. We're going to look at so many topics, like I said, as I've always said before. So if you have not followed this page, go and do that now. Just click on David Oniwis and you are sure to go so that whenever we come up, whenever I want to give a live stream of lectures like this, you can always be one of the first people that will be notified about these topics, these lectures. So if you have any comment or you have anything that you want to us to improve in this lecture, you can just send your information. You can send your comment. We are good to receive it. We always try our best to make sure that we improve on our standard. And I can tell you that this lecture has always been promising. It has always been what enlightening. It has been educative. It has been intuitive. It has been subjective and objective. It has been educative. It has been informative. I can bet you that you have always gained one or two things in this lecture. And as we progress along, also we're going to bring in different courses also, different courses. We're going to bring in psychology, sociology, human, other courses, public administration. They will also look at those little cadre of topics at the secondary school level for those people that are preparing for WAEC, we come down to their level as well. But this topic that I just taught now is beneficial to those in their institutions and those preparing for WAEC, because if you are doing your WAEC examination, they can ask you to give an update of military within Nigeria, or to give a chronological event of military coup in Nigeria from 1966 to 1999. And I can bet you, once you have this idea in your head, you are good to go. You can have your A in that course or in that subject called a government or political science. So on this note, we're going to round up. We'll say a very big thank you to those that have returned to watch our videos. And if you have not followed our page, please kindly do that. Till we meet next time. Don't forget, this week we are coming up with another topic, which is called the military disengagement in politics. Am I on that topic round up everything about military in politics? Then our next topic, we're going to look at something different, something dynamic, something interesting, something that can be of benefit to every one of us. So on that note, we say a very big thank you. Thank you for coming over to watch our videos. And if you have not watched, if you have not followed our page, please do that right now. And till we meet next time, thank you so much and God bless. Bye bye.